Chiefs news, analysis, and opinion every day. The Kansas City Chiefs have brought in another UDFA wide receiver, this time being Hal Presley out of Baylor, but they didn't just bring Hal Presley in. I wanted to show you the two wide receivers that were not signed, but whom the Chiefs did bring in for a tryout, that being Amari Rodgers, who was from the 2021 draft class, 5'9", 212, looks like a running back, right? With a 4.5, 240-yard dash, a 1.65, 10-yard split. I want you to keep that in mind because we're going to talk about that a little bit in a moment. 1.65, 10-yard split. No real standout numbers from him athletically. A 5.37 overall RAS grade, which is decent, right? Not a great athlete here. Then you have undersized, right? 5'9", sub 5'10 wide receiver. Then we have Seth Williams, a former Denver Bronco, who has 33.5-inch arms. Another thing that's going to come up in a moment, but a 6.88 RAS score, a 1.63 10-yard split. He's 6'3", 211, 12 reps on the bench press, 37-inch vertical, 10-foot, 4-inch broad jump, 4.49 40. This guy looks a lot like Justin Ross. The Chiefs have an open roster spot because they cut Justin Ross at his bequest. So we have those two wide receivers were not signed by the Chiefs. Hal Presley out of Baylor, a UDFA from the 2025 class, was signed by the Chiefs. Notably here, no listed arm length. I could not find one. 6'2", a little over 6'2", but 6'2", 210 pounds, 11 reps on the bench press, 34.5-inch vertical leap, 10-foot, 2-inch broad jump. An unofficial, meaning basically a pro day, 40-yard dash of 4.56, a 10-yard split of 1.60, a short shuttle of 4.35, and a three-cone drill of 7.06. Again, not a super athlete here. You're looking at another guy who does look a little bit like Justin Ross and who plays like Justin Ross as well. Well, maybe not with the super plays that Justin Ross had in that rookie or that freshman season for Clemson, but a 10-yard split. That's what I want to talk about for a moment. A 1.60. You're looking at these three wide receivers, and out of them, 1.63, 1.65, Hal Presley has the best 10-yard split, which was a 5.08 score out of 10. So that sort of shows you, I think, a little bit about what it is that, because all of these guys have pretty good size. No one has an embarrassing 40-yard dash. The 10-yard split is something that I'm starting to learn is more important to wide receivers and their draft status than would otherwise sort of stand out when you're talking about the well-known numbers, height, weight, 40, those things. So not a great 10-yard split, but we're going to return to that idea. Here is what he did at Baylor. In his freshman season, 1 reception, 15 yards. In his sophomore campaign, 32 receptions, 382 yards, 4 touchdowns. Looked like he was really turning into somebody. Had a regression his junior year, seeing just 6 games, having 17 receptions, 222 yards, no touchdowns. But then he played 12 games in his senior season, catching 31 passes for 429 yards and 3 touchdowns. Never really broke out at the college level. And you see here, a few rushing attempts, but nothing his final season in college. A not great average. I mean, he had the 1 run for 13 yards, which really took things up, but 2 attempts for 1 yard his junior season, probably when they decided, yeah, this just isn't for him, kind of like Rashee Rice his rookie season. But I want to start with the negatives here, and I want to start with the negatives for a positive reason. He's terrible off the line. Just awful. Now, terrible off the line, but a 1.60, which is a respectable 10-yard split. Not a good one, but respectable. And it's because he tries to get too fancy. he thinks he is a different wide receiver than he is, or seemingly, I shouldn't make accusations, right? But seemingly thinks he is a different wide receiver than he is, and he tries to mix up I say if you're this guy, just release. Just boom, get the play started, because that is not, the release is not where this man will be making his money in the NFL if he ends up being an NFL wide receiver. Also, he does the opposite of catch in stride. Every time he catches a pass, he's leaving his feet, he's stopping his feet, he's making an adjustment. He's not catching the ball in stride. Makes the catch, but he does not keep going afterwards. Other small things, he's not consistent catching with his hands. He's consistent making the catch. He's not consistent catching with his hands. And Baylor tried a whole lot of the at the line of scrimmage stuff with him. It's just not his bag. Did not work for him. That is not where I would expect to see him playing, or what I would expect to see him doing in the NFL. But now let's get to the positives, because I think it would be easy. The day before training camp, the Chiefs call up a wide receiver. They had just cut a wide receiver. This is not a guy that they're planning on making the roster. This is a guy that is just being signed to fill numbers in training camp. That's what I thought. Really is what I thought. When I heard that they had signed a wide receiver, I wrote it off. I made two videos a couple days ago talking about the free agents that the Kansas City Chiefs might sign if they wanted to move the needle, and talking about, I really don't think they're going to sign a wide receiver, because it was undoubtedly in my mind at that time someone who would not make the roster. The Chiefs are loaded with potential and with talent at the wide receiver positions, and I didn't see anybody in the free agent sphere that was really catching my eye. So I thought when they signed Hal Presley, UDFA, out of Baylor, not a whole lot of stats, well, this is a guy who they're bringing in for a camp body. It is because they need reps at wide receiver. That's it. And then I watched him. And those negatives stick out like a sore thumb. Those negatives are not good if he is not a guy who can figure out how to come off the line better, if he is not a guy who figures out how to catch the ball in stride, not going to make it in the NFL. Just not. But if he can fix those things, and those things are fixable, release from the line, you can fix that. He takes too many awkward steps. He'll take a side step. He'll Flintstone his feet. He won't attack the defender. He won't close the gap. It's a bad release from everything I saw. You can fix that. Catching in stride's a little bit more difficult, because the way you catch the football is sort of an instinctive thing, but you can work on that. You can get better at that. You don't have to fix it overnight. Because here's some positives. I don't know what this guy's arm length is. I couldn't find it listed anywhere, but it looks like he's cleaning field paint off of his knuckles after games. Very long arms, which, take it or leave it until you see the catch radius that he has. Again, I'm not trying to make the point that he's going to be a Pro Bowl wide receiver in his rookie season. Might not even make the practice squad for the Chiefs this season. I'm not making any of those claims. But he has a massive catch radius, and he can make spectacular catches with that catch radius. I'm not talking that he can make a spectacular catch running down the field. I mean when he has to stop and adjust on the ball, when he has to, not when he decides to because he wants to catch the football, when he has to, when it's an errant throw and he has to stop and make that adjustment, he can do it. When he has to lay out for the ball, he can do it. And that catch radius is very impressive at times. And on top of it, that catch radius proves that he can be a hands catcher. All too often, sometimes, I say all too often, he'll let the ball get into his pads, right? And it seems like that is a safety net for him, because he's not like late to respond so the ball gets into his pads. You see him go to cradle it. If he can catch the football with his hands, which he obviously can, he can make spectacular catches. He can fix that. I listed 4 negatives for this guy, but if he can fix those first 2, just those first 2, I mean, lots of guys are inconsistent catching with their hands. As long as you don't drop the ball, as long as the ball doesn't pop off your shoulder pads and into the hands of a waiting defender, coaches don't like it, they'll accept it. If you can't do tunnel screen stuff, if you can't do give me the football right here stuff, lots of guys can't do that. Everybody has weaknesses in their game. We're not lining Xavier Worthy up at tight end anytime soon, right? So everybody has weaknesses in their game. If he can fix the terrible off the line stuff, because he's got a respectable 10-yard split, 160, which is estimated, right? It could be better, could be worse. It's a decent number. It's decent enough to get open in the NFL. But he's terrible off the line. So it's not the starting speed, which is the problem. It's the stuff that he's being coached at or not, or the stuff that he's not being coached at. And the catching the ball in stride thing. If he can fix those things, he can be an NFL guy. He was in college a great downfield target. I don't know that he can do that in the NFL. It seems to be one of these things that tons of players are good at in college, but they get to the NFL and it just does not translate. But he's a good downfield target in college. Not a speedster, but more of a jump ball type of guy. He's a guy that, really not even a jump ball type of guy, a 50-50 ball type of guy. You throw the ball down there and he is pretty good at coming up with it. It is worth noting that this is a Justin Ross type wide receiver. Why is it worth noting that this is a Justin Ross type wide receiver? Well, because the Chiefs just cut Justin Ross and signed a guy off the street who is a facsimile of Justin Ross. A big-bodied wide receiver with great length who likes to catch the ball downfield, is a go-get-it wide receiver. That means there's probably something in that prototype which they're looking for. That's not Xavier Worthy, right? That is not really Jalen Royals. He has shades of it. It's not Rashee Rice. He has shades of it. It's not Hollywood Brown. So there is something in that prototype that they want to be able, seemingly, that they want to be able to utilize on the field. They want to be able to get that for Patrick Mahomes. Now, bottom line, what's going on here with Hal Presley? I do not think this is a 53-man roster kind of guy. I just don't see that happening. I do think this is a guy who is likely to be on someone's practice squad this year if he shows anything in Chiefs training camp, if he shows anything in the preseason. He does strike me as a guy that can catch on with the team this year. Maybe not the Chiefs, just because of all that depth. And if he works on those negatives, he can be on someone's 53. I don't know that it's going to be the Chiefs. I don't know that it's going to be this year, but I don't think it's going to be this year on the 53. But I don't know if it's going to be on the Chiefs this year with the practice squad. But if he cannot get over those hurdles, if he simply cannot figure a way to stop the heavy footing off of the line, if he cannot find a way to not leave his feet and make a routine catch, then he'll get demolished in the NFL. But he does have those flashes of big play type potential that you like to see from someone who is basically a lottery ticket on the roster. Again, I do want to reiterate the final talking point here. It does seem like the Chiefs wanted a wide receiver with whom they could go into training camp. It does seem like this was a numbers game at this point. Will this continue to be a numbers game all the way through camp, all the way through cut down day? I don't know. It might be that at some point they start utilizing more of their marquee players in bigger type snap counts in training camp in the preseason, and they're trying to really fill it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it might be they want to start training camp with this many wide receivers. Once they really get a handle on who's going to be on the roster, who's not going to be on the roster, well, then you can shift your focus and say, okay, the wide receiver stuff's figured out. We need more at defensive tackle. We're going to cut Hal Presley. We're going to cut whoever, and we're going to pick up a couple defensive tackles. Chris Jones doesn't need the preseason reps. Mike Pennell doesn't need the preseason reps. We're going to filter through these other defensive tackles and see if we can get something to stick there, right? So we'll have to see how that goes. We've seen a little bit of that in the past as training camp has gone on. So that is when, I guess I should say, the Chiefs have acquired some of the jumbo-sized defensive tackles that they've tried to make work on the roster. But anyway, guys, that's what I have for this video. Earlier today, we did day 1 of training camp. We did the notes on that, so be sure you check that out. That is in the both the 2025 preseason and the training camp playlist here on the channel. This video will be in the 2025 preseason playlist as well as the 2025 draft picks playlist because he is a UDFA. So make sure you hit the like button if you appreciate this sort of thing. It helps me out with YouTube, and I hope to have you back for the next one.